Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jake Lloyd. I'm the Communications Manager at DC Scores, and welcome to another edition of the DC Scores podcast. Today we're switching it up a little bit, and we're doing video. And I am here with Cory Chimka, who's the Program Director at DC Scores. Cory, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's an exciting time of year for us.
Exactly. Today is Thursday, January 9th. It's a new year, and we are just 4 days away from the start of the winter DC Scores season, the Power of Choice Nutrition and Soccer season. And Cory, I wanted to have you on today because you put this all together. You helped put together this big Power of Choice curriculum, and I wanted to ask you, first off, can you give us an overview of this Power of Choice program? Because I know that most people have a pretty good sense of our soccer and poetry program and soccer and service learning that we have in the fall and the spring, respectively. But I feel like people don't know that much about this scaled-down program that we have in the wintertime.
Definitely. And thanks for having me, Jake. It's always good to get a few minutes to sit down and talk with you. So I guess the background is we all know the Poetry Slam. It's our marquee event. Right. It is the climax of the fall DC Scores season. And at many schools, it was it's an intense soccer season. The run-up to the Poetry Slam is extremely intense, and at many of our schools, people are ready for a break. Kids are ready to go home after school. Maybe some places they're dispersing into drama club or band or whatever. And then there are other schools, of course, where the kids don't really have anywhere else to go, regardless of what season it is. So I hear from the coaches that, hey, the kids are still here, they're still coming to me every day after school, I'm still here, what are we going to do? So that's how winter programs started. And what we do is at 7 schools this January and February, we will have 2-day-a-week indoor soccer clinics, and 2 days a week we will follow that nutrition, active lifestyle curriculum that you mentioned, through a partnership with the United States Department of Health and Human Services.
Now, you mentioned the 7 schools. I'm not going to put you on the spot here to ask you.
Let's see if I can do it. Burville, Wheatley, Bancroft, Jefferson
Middle School,
Lincoln Middle School. I'm so close here. Let me think who else was in the room in our training last night. Thompson Tigers, and last,
you say our flagship school,
least, our flagship school, Marie Reed.
Very good. And those 7 schools, that's up from 4 schools a year ago. It seems to me every year we've increased the number of schools that we have in this program, and that's really due in large part to the coaches who make this happen. And can you tell me about the makeup of those who run the winter program for us?
Sure. Like the kids, some of the coaches are ready for a break after the fall season for a month or two, and other ones are like, no, this is too much fun, I want to keep doing it. So we'll have we sort of have a crack core of our most energetic coaches, some working at their own school, some shifting over to other schools to work with kids where there's not a coach in their school that would like to work with them, and that's a nice opportunity for kids to get a new mentor and a new coaching experience, and also for those coaches to work in another school and another neighborhood with a different group of kids.
Now, you mentioned kind of the nuts and bolts of the program and the basics, but I want to just kind of go at the big question here. Why, after having such a heavily involved fall season and then having the holidays, and with the spring season coming up beginning of March, not far away, why do we as an organization feel the need to have this program, to fit this in such a tight spot here?
I think it's really for those kids that don't have anything to do, A. B, we are rewarding those coaches, schools, kids that want to continue on in that supposed downtime by making sure they're the absolute most prepared for the spring season. Because remember, in the spring, the elementary school soccer season is competitive.
That's right.
We will keep tally of wins, losses, goals scored, sportsmanship points. So they're fine-tuning their soccer skills, but they're also learning these nutrition, how do I make healthy choices when it comes to food, how do I live an active lifestyle, how is that a responsibility I have to myself, but also to my team. And so, again, they're going to be the most prepared and the most equipped to hit the ground running when the spring season starts.
Okay, now I've got the curriculum here. As you can see, it's pretty darn thick. It's probably about 150 pages. And this is just for the nutrition aspect of the program, which is 2 days a week. We also have the soccer aspect of the program. Let's dig a little deeper. You know, I grew up in a household where thankfully I had parents who taught me to eat my vegetables and to live really healthy. But what specific things are kids going to be learning within these pages that they can then take and use in their daily lives?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, Jake, and it's a great curriculum, and it has challenged some of the things that I thought I knew about food and portion control and calories.
Right, I should probably give it a gander
Flip
myself.
through it for sure. So, I mean, to me, the inspiration for why we use this is our kids, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grader, increasingly they're making those choices at the corner store, at the refrigerator, at the fast food restaurant, for themselves, for siblings, etc. They're also surrounded by all sorts of marketing and advertising. So we want to try and proactively counter that, which getting to the facts of what is the truth about what we're putting in our bodies and where it comes from. To give you an example, we had our coaches here last night, and together we did one of the activities from the curriculum, and we passed around a big family-sized bag of potato chips, and we asked people to, put in the bowl what you would put in your bowl before you sat down and watched a ball game.
Be honest about it, right?
Be honest about it, right? So we did just that. Then we countered that with looking at the back. First of all, figuring out what is this? What is this sort of perplexing label? What does all this information mean? Right. So first we looked at what is one portion of potato chips. Well, it turns out it's about 15 chips. I turned to the coach next to me, and we said almost in unison, I've never eaten that few potato chips in a sitting in my life.
Especially when I'm watching a game.
Exactly. So then the next activity we did, we danced.
Right.
We danced vigorously for 5 minutes. I was sweating. The guys on either side of me were breathing kind of heavy. You don't realize that constant 5 minutes without stopping moving.
Dancing will tire you out. It's a good workout.
So it turns out then we found out that in that 5 minutes we had burned about 25 calories. Grabbed the bag of chips again, first of all, then we hypothesized about what we think we probably burned in that. Did we burn an apple? Did we burn a Big Mac? Did we burn a big plate of pasta? So it turns out we burned 25 calories. Went back to those 15 chips, 150 calories. So that's 20, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150. What we felt like was a decent workout that would have burned off even maybe a gluttonous meal, we would have had to do 6 of those to burn off that small handful of potato chips. So that was eye-opening for a big group of adults. So when you're talking to kids who maybe haven't even conceptualized this idea of food and exercise, it's fun to see their minds blown and to hear them be able to talk about these concepts and the issues attached with them at a level that perhaps you and I never even have talked about.
And the curriculum, it includes a bunch of exercises that aren't just knowledge-based and learning about calories and that kind of thing, but it also includes hands-on exercises, and each coach will have a huge box of groceries and things to work with during the course of these 5 weeks, and they will be showing the kids hands-on how to make healthy snacks. I think that's really cool. And then you marry that with the fact that you're having these soccer practices the other 2 days, so you've got your eating healthy and your physical activity put together, and I think that's really what can help these kids live healthy lives.
Yeah, I mean, you got on either ends of the spectrum everything you just described.
Yeah.
With the same kid, what could they alternatively be doing? Possibly going home, sitting down on the couch with the entire bag of chips. So
right.
It's really, you see the exponential difference when they hit the soccer field come March.
Speaking of soccer, you mentioned the difference when come March. I mean, you talked about this yesterday at the training, and I think it's definitely true from what I've seen just last year, remembering the schools that participated in the winter program and then seeing them on game day. Mm-hmm. Those kids are just so much more confident out there and so much more cohesive as a team. And the other teams, gradually get to that point during the season, but they have quite the advantage, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I'm gonna make a bold statement here, and I'm gonna say, you and I, January, February, March, April, May, June, 5 months from now, beginning of June, mm-hmm. when the playoffs are set,
right.
We're gonna go back, listen to the podcast, watch this video. Mark my word, playoff teams will have been among the schools we're talking about right now for winter program.
Yeah, I'm with you. I couldn't agree more. And one other cool aspect about the soccer program is that, so out of the 7 schools right now, I think it's a breakdown of like 4-3 or 5-2 in terms of being kind of on the west side of DC and the east side. But we also have soccer clinics throughout the winter program when like 3 or 4 schools come together, work on drills, and do a friendly scrimmage. How kind of cool is that? Because could we see that at the big events throughout the year, your Fall Frenzy and your Jamboree? But to bring them together like that during this winter program in a smaller gathering where they become even closer and really get to know each other, how cool is that?
It's very cool. One of my favorite things is watching a bus pull up to a school for a clinic, and the back half is Bancroft yellow, and the front half is Wheatley purple, and the bus is silent, right? Then we get the kids in the clinic, we mix them up, put them in pennies, they're all mixed up on teams, they're high-fiving their teammates, they're getting to know one another, they're having fun exercising together, and man, to see the drastic difference when that bus pulls off and it's mixed yellow, purple, yellow, purple, yellow, purple, and it looks like a party bus. So that's exciting, and then to see that again when those teams meet up either during the spring season or at the Jamboree, when you bring them together before the game into the center, it's amazing. They're running over, high-fiving, hey, you're my buddy from Winter Clinics. So it makes the spring game days, which are really competitive, just all the more fun, and sportsmanship starts to take care of itself, because you're not only my opponent, you're also my buddy that was on my same team in the winter, and reinforces this thing where we've got our school name on our back, but really big on our front, we have the same thing, and we're all part of this huge DC Scores team.
Exactly, all playing for that DC Scores logo. Cory, put a bow on this. As program director, what do you hope that students take out of the winter program by the time it concludes in late February, heading into the spring season that begins in March?
So I guess my hope is we're giving them the knowledge of what it means to live a healthy and active lifestyle. We're getting them the skills and tools and that hands-on experience that they can take to their families and say, this is a healthy snack that I can make for us with things that are accessible to me from the corner store at the end of the block, and that we're empowering them to use those tools and that knowledge in their decision making in every aspect of their lives.
Absolutely. Cory Chimka,
yeah,
great
man.
talking with you. Thanks so much for coming on the DC Scores podcast. And we look forward to a phenomenal winter season of learning about nutrition and soccer for kids at 7 schools. Thanks so much.
It's going to be fun. Thank you, Jake.
All right. That's it for the DC Scores podcast. We'll see you next time.